I can get emotional thinking about it because I know what I still had in the tank. Flex Lewis here, Straight Outta The Lair. In this episode, we celebrate the journey that this podcast has taken to reach its 1 year anniversary. For the first time, we put a camera and microphone on the producer and my wife, and I answered audience submitted questions. We recircle a series that was loved by many, brought back by popular demand. It gets very personal, emotional, and vulnerable, and I may shed a tear or two when I talk about retirement. This podcast is not just made for you, but is inspired and motivated by those of you who watch it. You are the reason it happens, and I'm so grateful for it. Here is an inside look into my personal life, questions asked by you, my amazing fans, followers, and friends from all over the world. And here is a podcast to celebrate a 1 year anniversary made possible by you. Flex Lewis here, Straight Outta The Lair, and we are joined today by the amazing, incredible Ali Lewis, my wife, also CEO for many of the businesses. What's going on, babe?
Not much. Thanks for having me back. It's been a while.
Well, it's not like I had you back. You just chose to, take on businesses and run businesses while I'm in here with headphones on, talking in the mic and interviewing many other people. You are making the multiple cogs in the businesses move.
Yes, that is true.
That is true.
And you're the star of the show.
See, when that camera goes off, we'll soon see how this dynamic works. But more importantly, the show has been going on for over a year now. So It was literally made apparent to me just before going live and when you were out to the office. So, it's incredible. This show has started off with myself, you, and Doug, and obviously we've got various star co-hosts that come on, like Eric Nixick with the UFC side of things. So, but truly, it started off with me and you in many episodes, and them episodes are probably some of the most commented episodes because we spoke about love and bodybuilding and various other different topics.
And the business. I think a lot of it too is, I think people look at you and they realize that, or they see with what you've done, you could make a business out of the sport. So that's something we focused on too. And of course, people love the relationship questions.
They do.
They ask you all the time, I feel like on your Q&As or the Ask Me Anything. So it's always something that gets asked a lot. So I think it's nice to bring this back and have a little Q&A, different vibe to the show, right?
Well, I think today is one of them days where we truly have had to, home in on our mum and dad dynamic of things whilst trying to balance out the businesses and meetings and everything else. So the viewers are at home know yesterday we had a rampacked day, including today. But our nanny called in sick. We don't have family here in Las Vegas, so we have to rely heavily on, nannies and babysitters for us to get into work and do things. So yesterday, early hours of the morning, we had a text message. Nanny was off work, so we had to play the whole tag game.
Yeah.
I went in first, and Ali tagged, and she went in after. But, thankfully for me, I was managed to condense a lot of my meetings in the morning, and then Ali came in and took over. But today, another dynamic happened.
Yeah, Ali woke up with a bad stomach, so...
Yeah.
No camp for that one.
No camp for that. So it's obviously summertime here in the United States. But so we have come in literally to do the podcast for you guys and girls watching this, answer your questions, and truly pick up on where we left off with the last episode, which was probably like 10 months ago.
Yeah, easy. If not, about 10 months ago.
The other thing that I also want to take note on and point out is now, for all the viewers who have been asking in the comment section, who is this guy, Tyus? We now have a camera. And in 3, 2, 1, Tyus! He is not from Africa or any other country. So I've been asked, where's Tyus from? But here he is. Where are you from, Tyus, actually?
Santa Cruz, California.
Yeah,
okay. Born and raised.
And what I know this question, but what brought you out of Vegas?
I came out here to do magic shows. So I used to cut girls in half for a living and put them back together. And then I got into producing, and then now I do a lot of podcasts.
Yeah. Tyus has worked with some incredible people, and then many other guys here in Las Vegas who have massive podcasts. Andre, who else is there?
Andre Gic.
Yeah. Who else you work with in Vegas? Multiple people.
A lot of people.
Yeah, not to put you on the spot, but he has
a lot of folks.
He has his favorite people, and I'm one of them. But anyway, number one. So this was a very improv. Today is Friday. It is International Fight Week here in Las Vegas. And we had scheduled a couple of fighters, unfortunately, because their schedule, things had to change. So this is something that has been a blessing in disguise. We put this together. We've had, as I said, many people have asked for us to do this again. It's something I kind of agreed to do, and then none of the guests has come in. So, thank you, Ali, for
no problem
for balancing everything out. But I know you're glad to be here.
I am. I can't wait for the questions.
And we have no clue about these questions too.
No.
So we actually had this morning during cardio had the viewers and fans submit some questions, and we've also had 2 lots of questions that come in. Ones that have come in with their names through the DMs, and then some that are anonymous. We've had more anonymous than we've had through DMs, which kind of scares me. I don't know. Should I be worried?
No.
Anonymous.
It's okay.
Anyways. So, Tyus, you want to just go straight into the questions, or should we just talk about some other things? You tell me what's the down?
I mean, I want to ask some questions about you guys, because I've seen your journey a little bit. I wasn't originally the guy behind the buttons and knobs on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to watch the two of you interact, and you're incredibly dynamic in super different ways. And so, for example, for those that don't know, Flex is a tornado of energy, and some of the most incredible stamina I've ever seen when it comes to guest interaction and greeting people out here at the gym and all this stuff. But you're also a tornado. There's chaos there.
Shout out to my sponsor Monster during this tornado appearance on the Straight Outta The Lair.
We need a visual of you spinning up like Tasmanian Devil or something. But then Ali is very collected and the opposite of the tornado. And I find that dynamic fascinating. And I'm curious what roles you guys play for each other, where one. Anyways, I'm curious how you guys balance out that dynamic of being so different, but also it works so well.
Yeah. Do you want to take it from the top?
Yeah. I mean, we are we joke about this all the time. We are so polar opposite, not just personality wise, but even goes down into the things we like to eat or do. But back to how we interact. I mean, I just think innately, I'm such a planner, and I enjoy planning. I love routine. I'm also really, I think, great at multitasking. Flex is...
Don't worry about me. You talk about you.
Okay, fine. That my strengths are those. And so for me, I look at things and figure out how to solve them right away. It's instant solving of any problem, big or small. So when he comes in with this tornado, it's a very, very good analogy. And this is not going on. This is that I just instantly, it doesn't upset me like it does emotionally. He's way more emotional in that regard to responding to things than I am. So when you say I'm collected, inside I might not be, but on the outside it's okay, I'm not going to freak out because there's a solution. I can just so easily see a solution to the things that work him up. And then quite on the contrary, I feel when I get worked up about whatever I get worked up about, to him, it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why it really works. Because if we both got the fires lit on the same thing, that a fire would occur, a bigger one. And so I think we extinguish each other in really good ways, and our strengths help with that. So even down into business, and I'm sure you would agree, I don't react emotionally to certain things in business. He does. And I think it's because he does is why he's so good at what he does in his job, and being this face and being out there with the people, and having that emotional connection and having just connection in general. But for me, I'm the problem solver. So he comes in with all this worked up frustrations about whatever it is. I'm well, that's easy to be fixed. Instacart, or that's easy to be fixed. Let's call the electrician. That is just how I function. So I think that's kind of how I look at our relationship. Like, I'm just a problem solver.
Thank you for throwing them softballs. Let's call the electrician.
I don't know.
Let's get it on Instacart.
I'm just thinking about things
more
that
problematic issues than Instacart follow.
But I'm just saying those are two things that I can think of.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. We do have complete different perspective on things. When I'm definitely more emotional, obviously I'm not saying that now to get brony points. It's just is what it is. I look at things differently, and I guess energy matches energy, right? So I love being around people who are kind of like go-getters, and I love the story of, people who have either come from nothing, made something, or had to restart again, And I tick two of them boxes, right? I've come from nothing, and I had to restart again. And I guess with us on the journey, we met right at the right time. Because I was going through that rebuilding stage. You were somewhat too. Yeah. But we come from two different worlds, and literally two different parts of the world. But yet we have a common goal of demanding the best version of ourselves. And I think that truly is the storyline here, right? If we both were hotheads, or we both were, Netflix bums, watching... What do they call when they go and watch like hours and hours for what's it called? Marathons. We've done that, but we've kind of, if you were that way and I was the other, it would be very hard for me to be motivated in that relationship. We both kind of want the same thing, and we also want this, like I said, the best version of oneself, as well as making sure that our spouse is getting the encouragement to chase their dreams too. So there's things that you've achieved, and you've got so much more to achieve too, that I don't want to speak about what you want to do. But for me, one thing that you are very good at is running our companies. You're very good at organizing certain things that I don't foresee. Like, I'm the big visionary guy. I want to take us from here to there, and I can put the big pieces together. But then it's the small details that truly carry everything, right? And you're great at making sure all the small details are ticked off. It's like, obviously, we wouldn't be doing this podcast, Taya, if it wasn't for her, She was like, babe, I think you'd be really good at doing a podcast. So many people come into gym. They all want to hang out with you. That conversation that you're having in the lobby is a podcast. I don't know. And here we are. 1 year later, finally, Tyus has a face. He's no longer Wilson over the fence.
Still don't have hair.
That's okay.
Missing out on that.
But nonetheless, again, I think this has certainly grown from where we started to where we are now. So again, going full circle and answering many different questions. Sorry, Tyus.
Well, before I've got so many questions from other people, but I don't get a chance to ask you guys questions.
Don't. And I'm on camera now, which scares the shit out of me.
I don't like being on camera. I intentionally got off stage so that I didn't have to be like the person that people saw. So within creating a relationship, by the way, I'm asking you guys my own therapy questions at this point.
Okay.
Within creating a relationship, like for me initially, it was just, I'm going to find somebody that I find really attractive, right? But if we're honest, looks change over time, attraction changes over time, right? So then I started looking and being like, you know what? Maybe we should go after personality. That's what everyone says is like the thing that somebody should be attracted to. That changes too. Personality is not permanent. So what I think really does or potentially might work is people with the same vision, the same goal, the same ambition. And it has to be a lifelong ambition, because a small goal finishes, changes. But when you guys have a lifelong purpose that seems to be aligned, things really seem to work out. And I'm curious how you guys have aligned and made that work for such a long time. But also, it's one thing if it was to say, oh, we're raising kids, so we're aligned in just raising the kids. But you guys are aligned across many, many different platforms, many different projects, and they always seem to work between the two of you. You have a fantastic dynamic. How do you guys align yourselves to make that work?
Sure, my answer or her answer? Complete carnage.
Yeah, no, it is. Well, it's, to be honest, it's, to your point, I do agree. What attracts you to someone could be a physical thing. And then you get to know them, and it either gets heightened or it doesn't, right? Even if they're smoking good looking, they could become uglier with their personality, right? Or uglier in how they treat you. So I agree on that you have to align with like, what your future is, but sometimes you don't know what that is when you meet someone, right? But I was going to say this before you asked this question, and it goes into this question, is understanding who that person is from in their personality will help you know, if you can get along with that personality, but how to deal with that person, right? Because I'm not a visionary like him. Doesn't mean that I can't handle someone like him, but I think what's really key is understanding how that person responds or reacts in situations will help. And that's how it helped, I think, in us growing or aligning the business, family, anything that we do together. I have to understand that he's going to have a different outlook than me. And that's going to be normal because we're not the same. We don't think the same. So there are times, pretty much, I think anytime he's brought something up, my natural instinct, and it's not to shoot him down, is to think of why it wouldn't work. I know that sounds so negative, but it's just the realist in me. He's this dreamer and this visionary, and he's like, well, what happens if we do this podcast room? And this is what I want. And I'm like, yeah, but that won't work. And I'm thinking of all the reasons why it won't work. And it's not to shoot it down, but it's so that it does work.
Yeah,
that's how I process things. So I think to someone answer your question is, how do we, coexist and be in alignment and everything? We're not all the time. He has maybe his side of the fence and I have my side. And it's like, well, how can we make both sides work? Mm-hmm. But with the idea of it being successful, not just doing what you want because it's your show, and not just doing what I want because it's my idea. Because, at the end of the day, you want something to be successful, but success isn't necessarily measured by financial gain, right? It's meeting the goal as to what was the purpose of this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. What was the purpose of whatever you're setting out to do is not always for financial gain. So I think the key, for me in us making everything work is understanding the type of person he is and his personality, and then him understanding me, get our ideas out there and say, okay, how can we both strive? We're striving for the same goal, but it's always like, what route? Yeah. So it's not complete bliss all the time.
No,
all.
We're both very driven. We both kind of set our alarm clocks early, and it's who gets up first, right? Or
Me?
whether the baby, or whether the baby gets us both up first. But we're both kind of up and at it straight away from the day, and we get a lot of stuff done early. For me, it used to be the complete opposite. So at first, I loved the fact that when everybody was asleep, I would stay up into the early hours of the morning. And then I would try to get up early, but I wasn't even functional. But that time at night, because the house was quiet, everybody was sleeping, everybody was in bed, I got a lot of stuff done. But then I realized that wouldn't it be better for me to just get up earlier, spend that extra time with you, run some ideas off the back of what I was thinking about early hours of the morning, and then kind of have more of a productive viewpoint to certain things. So both of us now kind of run on the same timeline. Yes, we do different things throughout the day. You have your standing meetings and stuff like that with staff, as do I. But ultimately, we always circle back periodically throughout the day to fill each another in on so much stuff. Because a lot of things I want to let the viewers know, it's a lot of things that Ali does on behalf of the companies that I don't need any communication with. There's no sign off on these things. There's a structure to the company. There's a dynamic to the company. Certain people have their roles, of course, because we've hired a lot of different people now for the various different companies that we have. And the hardest thing for me was not going to Ali and now going to the designated person, because she has been the everything for me. She was my wife, assistant, manager, CEO. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. On paper, yeah. Legally. No, you are. But there was all these other roles that you kind of fit the mold for. And it was causing issues, not like, oh my God, they're going to get divorced or anything like that. It was just causing like frictional shit that shouldn't have taken place, because, we were doing this dynamic of business partners, and then we had to go home, and then we had to be husband and wife. Well, now we've found a dynamic of, picking it up and putting it down, even though it's very hard when there's so many things coming in, especially globally. But we've got I feel like we've got a very good dynamic of things, and of course, there's always things like today that happen, and yesterday, but nonetheless, we still have a working dynamic of, and then a relationship too. And I'm sure there's questions without talking into so many different questions. But Leila Hamosi, she said something a couple of weeks ago about the pyramid dynamic that her and Alex have. Of course, they're very business savvy. They kind of have, their own version of our relationship, all business. And she set it up into 3 tiers, and it was, I think it was value, mission, and lifestyle. So them 3 things you have to be aligned on: value, mission, and lifestyle. And our value and our life and our mission, you guys know what we're doing. And our lifestyle, it fits accordingly to that. We're both in sync in what we love. Although we're polar opposite in different things when it comes down to food choices and whatnot, it's still the lifestyle. We live it. We get up every morning, we do our cardio, we eat a certain way. It's not like I'm looking at you and you're eating pizza again. I'm like, oh, come on, babe.
Well, we can relate to each other. I think that's the key with that lifestyle comment. Obviously, values, morals, of course, have to be the same. But I think that's very true. Like you hit the nail on the head with that completely.
Shout out to Layla.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got another question that I think is fairly well aligned with what we're talking about, and it's from an outside source. Can you share any strategies for maintaining a strong and healthy marriage while pursuing individual passions? You do work together, but you also have many of your own projects.
Yeah.
I think, and it's a new thing that we kind of have done to maintain. So what's the question again? Because I'll repeat it.
It is, can you share any strategies for maintaining a strong and healthy marriage while pursuing individual passions?
Okay. So some strategies. I would say for me is making sure, besides communicating, because that's just number one for me always, is communicating to the other person what your other, passion is, because they might not know, they might assume, right? So that's number one, never not communicate, right? So always be communicating. And then I think what we're really trying to enhance with our own businesses and our own separate little passions is creating teams. Quality people. It's not a lot of people. It's you bringing on good team members that you value, that are, once again, have the same thing, values that you have, share the same mission and value, but creating teams, because then it helps offset, you going to each other or expecting, and it helps for delegation of, tasks that might get in the way of your new passion or the other person. So I think for me, besides communicating being like number one to each other, it would be having a team, like a really solid team around you that can help execute and be in the middle also.
But what happens if they were boyfriend and girlfriend?
Okay. Well, then still goes with communication.
Mm-hmm.
I think communicating exactly what you want and making sure that you are in that communication saying what you would need from that other person to support you. I mean, I think that's like the most basic level if you're trying to, go for different goals.
I think for me, if you and your boyfriend have, you have that passion, the love, the commitment for one another, and you truly know that this is the person you're going to be with, then you want to see that person succeed. So if that significant other, male, female, whatever it is, has these goals, these dreams that they've spoken about many times, you damn well better make sure that person chases them. Because there's nothing worse than hearing storylines of people that woulda, shoulda, coulda. The woulda, shoulda, coulda will always be disgruntled. And even the looking over the garden fence then of the other significant other, and then that person's achieving their goals and dreams, it's not a fun situation to be sitting back then, and watching that other person like kind of living their life, knowing that other person or you should have done much more than they should have done. Your phone is blowing up. What's going on here?
You talking about her phone?
Yeah, look at this guy coming in, sneaking in.
Roderick, you're 100% on camera right now. 100% on the podcast. This is Roderick.
Yeah.
Say hi. But can I add to you what you were saying?
Well,
I think can I say one thing?
Yeah.
It's accountability. So your partner should hold you accountable after you've communicated what it is, because that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah. You also should have written goals. You can see from my office, we have several different whiteboards here, and these are day to day, week to week, month to month. And I truly think you should have that same mindset. You guys should have, a goal to reach, a commitment, and a daily step to whatever it is. And that significant other should be, confidently encouraging you closer and closer to whatever it is you want to do. Because listen, at the end of the day, you have one life. And if you're living for that other person, it's not your life, it's somebody else's. And there's nothing more to me to sit back and have conversations with you where you say, man, I'm so happy I done this. And, I'm happy. I know the motherhood was a massive thing for you. You wanted to be a mum when we first met. You wanted a family and everything else. And for all the viewers at home too, Ali proposed to me 3 times before I officially proposed to her.
It's true. And he denied me.
I did deny her. She got down on her knees. And I said, okay, I put my hands behind my back. She's, William, oh my God, get up, I said. But no, it's all about communication. It's all about, again, pushing that significant other to do what they truly should be doing, and that is living their best version of their life, right?
So, Flex, I've got to follow up on that because you were talking about goals. You guys are both very goal-oriented. Mm-hmm. But the thing about goals is if you want to live a happy life, they say be present, be in the moment. If you want to have a fulfilling life, a life of purpose, they say go after your goals, go after your ambitions. You seem to be incredibly goal-oriented. You've got long, big picture ideas all the time, but you also seem to have a wonderful experience throughout life. You're happy, you're interacting with people. You seem to be having a wonderful time. Now, either you're masking that super well, or you've got some secret that I don't know about.
Why are you laughing? You said masking and you giggle. No, listen, what I do, I truly love. Thank you very much, Tyus. Again, you've kind of sat, from a different seat, right, and seen what's been going on here. But obviously for Ali, she's seen me when I was the broke kid living in Tennessee, living in what would it be? Not the best of areas, just to say that, with an amazing kind of confidence that I was going to make it. So I don't even know how I was even able to kind of be so positive, be so, let's go, let's seize the day now looking back, because there was more things kind of closed in my face than there was. But even now, if I was to tell myself 10 years ago about the things that are going on right now, I would be like, you got to be kidding me. There's no way. I mean, even our relationship with the UFC, like we moved to Vegas 3 years ago, and I said that within a year or 3 years, I wanted to have a very good relationship with the UFC HQ and everybody over there. I think it took, 3 months?
Yeah.
But it's all, what the guys and girls have to remember, though, listening to this is, if you treat people right, all the guys and I guess all the people that I want to connect with or wanted to connect with over at the UFC, I have relationships with other people that they know. So my name has come up in conversation, and I've been verified by, different people in different places. The sign off, Roderick, can you do me a favor? Can you move from there? You're creeping me out.
He's not on the camera.
It's like I can see you nobody's around me when I do the podcast. Sorry. Now I can answer that question in its best entirety. So going back to what I was saying, I guess for everything I was saying,
well, the question was how can you be
Ali.
present, but then also so goal driven? Because
what the fuck was I talking about? UFC connecting and everything else?
Well, you were talking about reaching your dreams and your goals and your visions. But the thing is, having a vision of the future is also a statement that your present is not what you want it to be. Just by declaring I have this goal, it means that things are not the way you would be happy enough right now. And you seem to be able to have both of those a lot. I don't know exactly how that works, and I'm curious if you do, or if it's just that's just the way you live, and you don't think about it consciously.
I guess what I don't do enough of is hit the brakes and kind of sniff the roses when I'm going through, these big monumental kind of achievements that I've chased to do. I haven't done it enough. Like every one of these trophies, I've said on many different podcasts, many times, I never appreciated as much as I should have done. I appreciate these times now more because now I can look back and think to myself, oh, remember that time? Or remember I nearly didn't make the stage? Or remember when I was in my hotel room and they were calling me because I had to be on stage? It's all laughable and it's and all aligns with kind of the, what we're talking about now. But in relationships and stuff, I think we have been very good at celebrating milestones because the difference between Flex Lewis and James Lewis is not just a name change. It's James Lewis is husband, dad, family member, and all these things that Flex Lewis, the brand, is known to be, but that is my sole job. James Lewis is not Flex Lewis. I don't come home and throw my weight around and think like, hey, I'm the 7-time 212 champ, man. I'll even kick my ass.
For sure.
Yeah. So in all humility, I felt I've done a good job of balancing the process, but living in the moment is something new to us. Something that I've kind of, I'm trying to do better at.
Can I add in? I think what's really helped, and I'm not promoting everyone go do this, is our children.
I was going to just get to that point.
I think that is like the most purest form of being present because you have to be present, right? Like they can't do everything for themselves. And so if they're presently needing to do something or need you, it snaps you into like, all right, I got to get off my phone because like that's working on the goal, right? Like that email, that phone call, that meeting, and you're so wrapped up into it because like you said, to be goal driven is, to in part not necessarily not like where you are, but want better, right? And it's this future thing that you're striving to do, which in turn takes you away from present. But I think for us, I know for me, like having our children, it just 100% snaps you into like, I have to be present. Yeah. Or you start realizing, because we have an 8-year-old and a 1-year-old, almost 8, but time.
That 8 years is gone.
Yeah. And so like you literally see the present, and then like the future of that child. So I think that helps. But it is hard. It is a new thing. And I'm not going to say that, when he competed, all of those were goals. I want to win. So it's like, whatever I got to do to win. He was not present. He was present to do his training. He was present to eat his food, but not present to enjoy the process because the process was in process and it's not done until you win. So that mindset is what got him to where he needed to be, which is winning. I don't think you could truly, and people might disagree, be 100% present every day of your prep and then also win. I just don't. I think that you have to shift the scale depending on what your goal is and the season that you're in of life.
What do you mean 100% present for prep?
Well, I'm saying like for you, you had a goal of winning a prep, right? Like you're in prep, winning a show.
Yeah.
So I think that the scale of being 100% present and then just so driven on the goal, it's not even. You're not like 100% present and enjoying soaking up the moments. Like you said, you have a job and you got to train, you got to eat, you got to train, you got to eat, you got to post like for you on that goal. So you were present obviously to do those things, but not enjoying those moments like you've said. And I know just the other night he said to me, like, I look back and, there are times where I'm like, wow, I should have done this. Like your whole life was so consumed with bodybuilding. And I know we were talking about a specific individual, a young and upcomer, and you kind of gave him advice and you were saying to him, come out, bring your food. Who cares? Like, don't not go to someone's house because you're prepping. Like try to add some presence, right? Try to enjoy some moments of your prep. So that's something that I think you learn later on, right?
I was so consumed with trying to be the best that everything was kind of like matrix around me. And I in that moment, I probably would have said, I have so much balance, I can do this, I can do that. But I also knew that I was truly fixed on becoming the best bodybuilder in the world. That was why I left my family. That was why I was sleeping on a sofa. There was all these different things that pushed me closer and closer. And I'm still that guy sleeping on the sofa. I'll be honest with you, I'm not even going to front you. I still feel that was last week. And it's still fresh to me, the fear of, man, if this doesn't work, what happens? No, it will work. And that's been replaced now by so many different things. The level goes up, the bar gets raised. There's more and more, I would say, scarier goals that we're chasing, but they're all tangible because we've got the blueprint. All it is you want to do it, turn your hat back to front and work for it. But the difference is right now is, you know, I go home 3:30, Adiana finishes school, and I have to put that dad hat on, and I can't be picking her up from camp being Mr. Intense. Where's my daughter? I'm Mr. Olympia. You know, not that that would happen, but you know what I mean. The intense version of me back in the 212 chase was a different guy, you know, as I am now. When we set up the Dragon's Lair in Boca Raton, that was for me to win and defend, win and defend, win and defend. We really, truly didn't have this goal of bringing this gym to Las Vegas in, you know, several years later on, but it's organically grown. You know, I think that's one of the things that we have done. If we truly thought about what we'd done back in Boca Raton, we probably wouldn't have. I think, again, with us too, is we're such go-getters. Yes, you're more of a realist than me, and we weigh out the balances and checks, and we're kind of like, but I think this is something that we both agreed on during the time. We were like, no, this has to happen because you cannot train for the Olympia. And that was a massive undertaking for us both, massively financial. Again, we had a big contract that I just signed, you know, maybe a couple of months before, and then we just allocate so much of them funds to build in a gym for me to win a defend. But we knew that if I done my job, the doors are open for other things. And you truly understood that too. And I think that, you know, give you the flowers, you know, for this, because you truly understood what I was trying to do. You truly understood what I was trying to do for the family. But it was a scary financial investment for us because say it didn't go to plan. Say I got injured. Say we didn't even think about the what ifs. We were like, okay, for you to win this is what we got to do.
And I've said this before, the best investment you could do is in yourself. Take that for what it is. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but that is the one thing that I was told a long time ago, and it truly hits close to home. The best investment is what you can make. The investment is in yourself.
Well, let's talk about investment for a second. Okay. Because I think the vast majority of people that see this show see you as a massive success, see you as a massive success, see the guests as massive successes, and you're almost symbols, right? In the same way that Arnold has become like a symbol rather than almost a person that's relatable. But you have very relatable beginnings. And for a lot of people, they might look at it and go, well, yeah, it must be nice to be able to create your own gym. Like, yeah, that is a large financial investment, but gosh, that must be real nice. And now you got all these other businesses, awfully nice. And now you got all these connections. Well, good on you. Yeah. But what advice would you give somebody that doesn't have all that financial availability, because you've been in that situation, doesn't have all those resources, doesn't have all those connections? Where do you start when you have zero, and how do you get to where you're at without losing your mind?
Well, that was me. I had no money. I invested in myself, like Ali said. The daily day was, okay, how can I get better? I look at my bank account, well, it's not coming from there. So the only thing I could put in was sweat equity and networking. The biggest thing you can do outside of investing in yourself is invest in people, invest in relationship, shake hands with people, not only in your own sport, but in multiple different genres. You should get used to putting your hand out and somewhat having a short introduction that gets the captive attention of that person that you're trying to introduce yourself to. Attend masterminds. If there's free masterminds going on in your area, get to them. You will meet like-minded individuals in business, in bodybuilding, whatever it is. Turn up at these NPC seminars. They're free. They're putting them on. Don't make an excuse. Oh, my dog got a limp. Can't go. No. You're trying to create something that's going to be life-changing, not for you, but for the next people. I mean, not the next people. You're trying to create something that is going to change not only your life, but your significant other, potentially your parents. If you got kids or got kids in the way, that's the mindset that you should have. It says not now about you. You know, my goal, yes, was to be the best bodybuilder in the world. That's why I came to this country. But I also had other drives and motivations. I wanted to pull my mother and father out of where they were living and, you know, change their lives. And by default, I've been able to plant seeds in my brother's head, my sister's head, for them to go and chase their own goals and dreams, because kind of I've pioneered that, right? I think the small town mentality of, oh, you're not going to succeed, you know, you're from, you know, Llanelli, you're from Wales, or my producer just looked at me like, what the hell came out of your mouth? That's my town. Llanelli. Llanelli. Say that, Llanelli.
Oh, yeah, so it's spelled exactly how it sounds.
Llanelli.
Yeah.
You got to say it from the side of your mouth. But when you have, you know, there's a lot of, you know, not to saying that Llanelli have a small town mentality, but for the viewers that are watching this, they can all resonate, right? If you've heard it, it's like, hey, calm down now. Top Hoppy syndrome, basically. So you kind of have to now be the conductor to your own choir, because if you do not, nothing will change. And I know this sounds cliche, and I know this sounds like every other motivational podcast you've heard, but ultimately, the older you get and the more successful you are, you start hearing things that are true to form and keep on coming up over and over again. Just like that sentence you just said, the best investment is in yourself. You know, that was something I heard 10, 15, 20 years ago, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. But how do you start? So going back to what I was saying, investing in yourself can be many different things. That could be a plan of action for the day, for the week. Maximize your time, stuff around on Instagram, stuff around with your circle of people that are not going to get you anywhere but, you know, in the same hamster wheel that was going on the year before, the month before, whatever else. If your circle of connected people are not talking about business, investments, they're not talking about families, they're not bringing any value to their life, you need to readdress your circle of people. Because they're the ones outside of your significant other, even if you don't have one, that are going to keep you accountable on your goals and dreams. I have savages around me. I have people who would lap me. And you think I'm busy? My gosh, I am busy. I know I'm busy, but I look at some of these other guys and think, my gosh. And they've got families too. But yet I see now what time truly is. I used to lend it to so many people who didn't give a shit about that time, the advice that I give them. They squandered it. They took the piss. Now my time is probably the most valuable thing that anybody can get. So if I have my meetings in this office, they know they're maximized. My whole day is designed, and I live by Google Calendars. In fact, like we all know in this room now, I've got a VA. The VA has been an extremely great addition to the team, because every single morning when I wake up, I look at my phone and I know all my meetings, all my times, what I got to do and when I got to do them. Because my issue was overcommitting myself to so many different people. Now I have the excuse to say, hey, sorry, I can't, for the ones that, you know, didn't value it. So I know there's a lot of things to, but rehashing everything, invest in yourself, get around like-minded people, have a goal, write things down every single day, chase them, cross them off at the end of the week. All that is free. And when you level up, start investing financially into yourself. If you start doing reels, and you know, there's a lot of these new apps that you can do. If you're YouTube, if you're Instagram, there's a lot of free apps that you can download and cut them up. Again, think about leveling up. Don't look at that person who is the same age as you or younger, that's in the same field that you want to be. That's looking over the fence to greener grass. Because I can tell you right now, the people who are doing that, or you're looking at, are looking at somebody else. And they're looking at somebody else. The best thing you can do is just focus on you. And as long as you know, by looking back, you've made gains in life, then you're on the right path.
There's a thing called the sunken cost fallacy, which is where you've invested so much into something and then you feel like you can't ever leave that alone because you've invested so much in it. Yeah. And you end up with this wall of trophies. Your identity is built around one thing for a long time. And at a certain point, you decide, and I believe it was the first episode of this podcast, you say, you know what? I'm going to retire from that. And I'm curious, and I actually want Ali to answer this first. I'm curious how you let go of something that you identify as your identity. You know, so a lot of people might think, you know what, I'm a banker because I work at a bank, and suddenly they lose their job and they're like, now what am I? You know, I'm a boyfriend or a husband, and the divorce happens, and it's like, now I don't have a person. I don't know what I am anymore. What impact, what changes did you see in Flex on that retirement? Because I mean, he invested his whole life into that moment, and then to say, I'm okay letting go of everything that I've built at that moment. That's a pretty significant change.
Yeah, and to be completely transparent and honest, I think it's so easy to sit back and be like, yeah, the writing's on the wall. Like, you know, you're done competing. It's the R word, right? Like, let's retire. For me to say it, it's so like logical. It makes sense. But I will admit, I don't think I really knew what was next. Like, from an emotional standpoint of what he would go through. It took him a long time to actually, like, he made the decision, and then took him a long time to actually say it to everyone, and even me. And I wasn't fully prepared because it's not like I've been in this before, right? So, you know, I was there for most of his career. Not, you know, I wasn't there since he was 19, but for, you know, the last 11 years. And we did everything. Every win was together. So I think it felt right. It was like a bittersweet, if I can answer it that way. It was like the time had come, but it's also, we had like this whole routine. We knew when prep started. We knew when you had to stop traveling. Like, I was in it too. Like, I was so dialed into, even with having Addie, it was like, you know, this month came, no more travel. And then this, and then he was on the circuit. So it was weird for me too, to be like, what's life without like prep, you know, because we just got it down pat. But it definitely took, you know, a decent amount of time to be like, all right, well, what do we pour our focus into? But we were also simultaneously opening this business. So that truly helps, because he was able to put his energy and focus into something else. And that goal that you were saying that he sets, like, we had a goal here, we had a vision here. So that really made it a nice transition. It still doesn't replace it. It's not like, oh great, you're winning seven Olympias, now you're going to go open 7 gyms. No, it's not on the same playing field, but it helped. I will say it helped that transition phase. And every day we work on it though too. It's not something that it's like, all right, you're done, you're retired. Let's just keep busy, you know, because he is such a driven person, and he needs to find purpose in why to wake up every day for a goal standpoint, not just the family, right? But to provide. So I think that it was bittersweet in the sense of it was time to end, and it was enjoyable to maybe go to the next chapter, right? Like the next chapter, have another child, enter into kind of a new business. But we still work on it every day. You know, we still set like new goals, right? What do we want to do with the gym, right? You know, we just expanded the gym, for example. That was one, you know, thing that we wanted to do. We still want to do is expand. And so it's new territory. And that's exciting, right? Because not that every year was the same and every win was the same, but it was so routine. It was so structured. He had the blueprint with Neil, like how to win, what he needed to not do and do, that it was robotic in one sense. Now you enter this field and it's not so robotic. You're dealing with different things and new beginnings. So it was a challenge, but I think it's, you know, a good challenge. We both are competitive people, and we don't shy away from things that are like, you know, confusing or a territory we haven't been in. So I would truly say that I'm glad that It came to an end when it did because he was ready and the time was right and there was no convincing. He knew. But now we're on to new challenges.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't end.
So Flex, now it's been just about a little over a year now, right? And I'm curious, did you, in that time frame, did you feel like you lost yourself or who you were? And if you did, what did you decide and how did you decide to recreate who you are now?
This is a tough one because even I can get emotional thinking about it because I know what I still had in the tank, you know, and I still know what people think. Didn't expect to be upset. So I know that had I continued, I would have done very well. But it was the right decision to be done because I think to myself, man, if I was in prep right now, what my kids wouldn't have is so apparent. Like I love being dad. It's my favorite thing in the world. That's the number one title. You see my Instagram, that's the first thing that's in my bio. Dad. But selfishly, I have been doing this since I was 19 years old. And it was time for me not to be selfish. It was time for me not to put myself first. And as much as I've said many times that I feel like I had a lot of balance, when you live your day for a title and you're constantly reminded about, you know, what you have to do to become the best, there's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of unseen sacrifice that comes along with being a champion. And I know how that goes. It is, as much as I say that I'm doing what I should be doing, you can always squeeze that lemon a little bit more. And that comes with losing time with your family, losing time with, you know, loved ones, friends. In the year that I have retired and in the year that I made that announcement, so many incredible things have opened up. So many doors have opened up. So many things that I would never have been able to do if it had not been for me making that retirement. But yet still, you know, when you are known as this identity, you are known as Flex Lewis. You know, I've been known as Flex since I was 6. And then to achieve your goals and your dreams of becoming the best bodyman in the world, and, you know, you get to the top and it's like, oh shit, this is it. So then the reinvention for me after having 7 consecutive wins was to go on the open class, and I think that's what everyone wanted to see, right? Everyone wanted to see the best version of me because it was always restricted. There's photos in my phone that even I look at now and go, jeez, that would look nuts on stage if that was, you know. Even Neil says, like, you know, Flex, I wish people got to see. And I listen to him, and I'm happy. I'm happy that we've got these things. I'm also happy that he knows as well as me. It's not like one of these delusional things, just like, oh my God, you know, I could have won like that old man in the gym. Oh, back in my day. But because this is so fresh and it's only been a year, I do keep myself incredibly busy by doing a lot of stuff. But I'd still have their moments which kind of surface up where I'm like, oh, the woulda, shoulda, couldas, right? And as I have a gym that's surrounded by tourism, we hear it all the time about people saying, Flex, you going to come back, please? You're my favorite bodybuilder. And then I start thinking to myself, I should do it for the fans. I should come back. You know, maybe now the dust has settled, the pressure's off, people are not kind of blowing me up, because obviously that was the biggest thing, right? Everybody was excited to see me. Then I got the gut issues. Then I had the injuries. But none of that played the part of why I want to retire. I made the retirement. It wasn't you. I've said this many times, but it wasn't Neil. It wasn't my mum. It wasn't my dad. It wasn't anything other than me facing the facts of if I want to be present for Maxine now and give back to the family that I missed when Adiana was a baby, and me going around the world and traveling here or there. You know, I missed a lot of valuable time that, yes, we traveled together, but still I'm in prep mode. I'm Flex Lewis, and the brand. I lost out a lot of time. So I still struggle. I'm not going to lie to you. I do still struggle with. I do have my days where I struggle with the identity thing, and it's not like that, element of oh my God, nobody knows me. No, in fact, I've probably increased my readership of people because I'm doing so many different things in different genres and speaking engagements, and I'm being very blessed to go now all around the country and speaking in different events, and people want to know the story because I know that this is obviously an achievement, but I'm still that kid from Wales that wants to be the best. But now I have to replace best bodybuilder by best something else. Best dad, best husband, best whatever else. So, I do get moments where I feel like, I can still do it. But then I have to remind myself the bigger picture for me right now is legacy. The legacy of myself, the legacy of the brand, the legacy of, what my kids will know me for when I'm gone from this earth, and the legacy that everybody else will know me for also. So right now is a critical time for me to now close one chapter and open up a book of new ones to come. And I think with the podcast, this was something, as I said earlier in the episode, this was something I never thought I would do, but also what it's allowed me to do is home in on my weaknesses. Growing up with a speech impairment, hated to speak in public. This is like the kind of that kid's worst nightmare. But I love it. You got to challenge yourself, and you got to do things that, the cliche again, do the things that scare you or the uncomfy until it becomes comfy. And now, a year later, here we are. We're talking about the retirement again. It's not as fresh as it was a year ago. And it's got a lot better. It's still there, but it's suppressed. And I'm great at suppressing things, aren't I?
Yeah.
So we're starting to run out of time. Yeah. I've got one last question. I want to send it to each of you. Well, it's one question broken up into 6 parts over 13 categories. Okay. So it should be real simple. And I'm going to throw it at you first, Flex.
Okay.
I want to know, it's really 3 questions.
Okay.
I want to know, when it comes to Ali, what are you most proud of from her? Mm-hmm. What skill does she have that you want more of within yourself? Mm-hmm. And what could other people learn from her?
Ooh. I think, what was the first question?
What are you most proud of?
Most proud of, I've already mentioned it, that, outside of me and her getting married and becoming Mr. and Mrs. Lewis, she's an incredible mum. Number one. Incredible mum. Obviously, she's given me the 2 best gifts in the world, the best of both worlds. My daughter, Annie Page, and Maxine James Lewis. Both are studs. They are really. So that's probably the best thing Ali has ever given me in my life, outside of a fantastic blowjob every other week.
God.
I said every other week. It doesn't sound so bad. Do you mean to say every day? Okay, next.
God.
The second one was, what skill do you wish you had the ability to do that, she has? And if you say blowjob,
you should have just let me finish it. No. The skill, my God. I truly wish that I had Ali's patience and things. She truly sees things a lot differently to me. Organizational skills and preparing for things. That's not my forte. We truly are yin to yang in many things. You will look at certain things and you're already planning it. Ali has planned this whole month out already on what we need to do. In fact, we're going on our first vacation, believe it or not, at the end of this month, and Ali's handled all that. I turn up at these things and I'm like, oh wow, good job, babe. But then also if it's shit, I can blame her too. So, but no, she's very good at just look at all my strengths. All my strengths are not hers, and hers are not mine. And I think that right there is the reason why we succeed in so many different facets in life. And also, I've tried to emulate a lot of the things that she's good at. And I feel like I've got a little bit better, Obviously, when you live with, this lady opposite me, you get to see just how much of a super mum she is. You've seen her pregnant, training, running businesses. She gave birth, and she had a phone in her hand, and she's still running businesses from the hospital. So I look at that and I think to myself, wow, like I would be using all kinds of excuses not to be doing any kind of shit. I'd be like, home, what's the saying? Just fan me with all this love and chocolates and everything else. I've just given birth. But here she is. It's like, hey, did you get this thing care of? I'm like, wow. So that too.
And then what could other people learn from Ali that would make this world a better place?
Truly, she has this unselfishness to her, a side of truly wanting to see me succeed. I'm very blessed to have her as my significant other, my partner in crime. We've gone through a lot of amazing times and heartbreaks, and we've not had any arguments like that where I'm gonna leave. None of that. I may have threatened her once, but I was like, I ain't going anywhere. You know that. But again, with us, we have such a great dynamic, and she's pushed me. I think to myself this too. So answer the question. I'm not prolonging any longer, but if I was to write the perfect partner out, she's very close to being that perfect partner. I said very close. Calm down. That perfect partner comes with so many different attributes. That perfect partner wants to see the best version of that person, that other significant other self, push, even put herself in the firing line to say things to me when she knows she's not going to get a nice reply back. But that is because she sees the potential in me. She sees what she knows I can do. And also the encouragement in so many different ways. We've gone through so much in the 11 years that we've been together, and we look back at these photos. We got time hop, and we look at this, remember this, and we look at and we go through different scenarios that happened on that day. And roll our eyes. But yet, there's never been a time where I thought to myself, "Wow, this relationship is not working out." In fact, more than anything else, as the years have gone by, I value that relationship or this relationship more than ever, because we've gone through what we've gone through, and it's strengthened us. And she knows now what truly motivates me and what doesn't. And I think that's the key, is getting into the mindset of me and pushing the right buttons. So very unselfish in her own goals is why it's my job then to flip the roles and make sure she achieves everything and more that she wants to do in her life.
Ali, you're up. Same question. So what are you most proud of Flex? What skills does he have that you wish you had or want to have? And what could other people learn from him?
These are really good questions, by the way. There's a few things I'm proud of. I would say one of the... being a father aside, because I know that you said that about me, but I do believe that one of the most things I'm proud of him is the fact that he is a visionary. And what I mean by that is that he had this dream of becoming the best bodybuilder in a place where, first of all, even nowadays, that's not even something that a lot of people can have a career in. So I find that I'm so proud that this kid who just started with this idea of wanting a free gym membership fell in love with something so much so that he did not care what it took to get there. It's that drive. I'm so proud that he just has this innate belief in himself, even though he says, oh, you need to be with someone who believes in you and can motivate you. Like deep down inside, what fuels that tornado is his his true internal motivation. Like, I think he might not see it as such. He might not label it as this determined, motivated individual, but he is. I think I'm just so proud of the fact that he does believe in himself to reach any goal that he wants. He might need help along the way to remind him, but I think I'm just so proud of that, the fact that he has this determination to get anything that he wants. And he's just resilient with it. You know, I mean, like I said, being 16, 17, 18, 19 and saying, you know, I'm going to throw away everything I know and I'm going to go chase a dream. That is something that a lot of people are so scared to do. They might have their dreams, but they don't chase it at all. And I think that he always talks about that. And that's something that I'm proud of, that he chased his dream and now he's going to chase other dreams. And so for me, that's a proud feeling to know that that's innately inside someone and that's inside him, you know, so shall I say. So to me, I'm father aside, being obviously a great father, I think the ability for him to believe in himself so much that he will do whatever it takes to reach a dream or his dream is something I'm very proud of.
What skills does he have that you wish you had?
Juggle.
He is such a people person, I think, and it's Flex Lewis, right? I mean, like you said, there's James Lewis and there's Flex Lewis, but he's just so good at connecting with people. Any person, it doesn't matter age, gender, if they're in the sport, out of the sport. He is just so amazing he opens our office door and it's like the magic trick. I don't know. You've seen it, Tyus. I've obviously seen it for 11 years.
I've stopped a meeting because of it. We were in a meeting and I was literally like, how are you doing this? Like, his ability to connect with people is unbelievable.
Yeah. And so I think that's one thing that we see in a different way than a fan sees probably, right? But I think that to me is just truly an internal skill that I don't think I could do that. I mean, I love people and I can connect on a certain level, but he is with his fans and then just people. So those are two different groups of people, you know. Someone cannot be a fan but want to meet him, and he has such a good ability to connect and communicate with people.
And then lastly is, what would make this world a better place if other people did something that was similar to what Flex does?
I would say, I'm sure there's a lot.
You only get one.
I know. So what was the question again? 'Cause I have to think.
If other people adopted one of Flex's skills, what would make this world a better place?
I would say treat everyone with respect and no judgment. I feel like he's not a judgmental person at all. I would say that. And it goes with what I just said prior, is that ability to just connect with people. He's always friendly. Like, he's the person who gets so upset when someone doesn't wave and we're driving in the car in our neighborhood, or he's walking, you know, with the kids. And it's like, it's that kindness. I mean that in like not a corny sense, but just normal human decency, just being kind, and you never know what someone's going through. And he's always that person who will say hi, bye, hold the door. It's just that true, genuine, that kindness, and that goes with that networking bit too, right? Like whether or not that wave turns into someone stopping you on their walk or not, but it's just that true care for others and others' well-being, because he does care for a lot of people, and you see that with everything he does. Is everything comes from that deep form of being kind and caring about other people.
Wow. That's nice. This was kind of like couples therapy. But I do get pissed off when people don't wave at me. But anyways, there's I don't even know where to go from that. I'm not used to kind of being on the podcast and getting such nice compliments. I feel like it was like one of them obituaries, you know? It's like, oh.
Well, you got to say something. We got to wrap this up.
I know. But guys, girls, people all over the world, I want to thank you again. This has been truly a incredible year. One that I didn't know how this was going to go. I had the faith that this was going to be a good show, a good podcast, and I invested into it most definitely from the get-go, as I do with most things. But speaking has never been one of the top traits of myself. You know, physical action, putting my hat back to front and just going for shit is no problem for me. But then having to pin me down in one spot for more than an hour and talk is difficult at best. But it's been incredible because I've had amazing guests. It's been a real eye-opener to truly see some of these people I've known for 10 plus years call me up, text me and ask to be on the podcast. They're seeing what I'm doing. And it's something that I want to, again, thank all the fans and the viewers that have supported me from the get-go, supported, Ali on all her endeavors, and more than anything else, when it goes full circle and you guys get to come to the gym and I get to meet you and we get to talk about different episodes and how it touched you through, a guest that came in. Them are more of the storylines that are coming up now, more than me being on stage, this is what I'm trying to do. Everybody has a story that they want to talk about, but if you're starting off by now saying, hey, I love that episode that you done with X, that just goes to show that the investment that I'm doing now is now moving into the direction that I want. Because this is a chapter that I walked away from. This is now part of that future. So even though we didn't happy birthday on the official date, we are here to celebrate 1 year of launching this podcast with myself and Ali full circle. She's not pregnant this time, so there's none of that news.
No.
But just saying again, thank you again for all the support. We are investing in this product. We have a podcast studio. In fact, before we sign off, Tyus, I know you're going to roll your eyes at me. Can we give a quick update as to what the gym is going on, what's going on in the gym right now, to tie us off?
Yeah, there's a guy next door that's trying to hang 8x10s.
I know, we just told him off
the
on knocking. But before we sign off, I think this is a question that somebody actually asked me to answer in the Q&As that I posted. The gym updates. So right now, since I popped that cherry, right next door, behind me, literally behind me, we have finished phase 1 of the new podcast studio. So there's several phases, but we have just completed the backdrop and everything else that's going on in there. So that look will be soon revealed. I'm excited when that's going to be our new studio and we're shooting. It's kind of subject to communication and stuff. When do you think, Tyus, let's be honest, when do you think we got that room up and running? Not the complete studio 2, studio 1.
I mean, if like when do you think we should be?
Yeah, when do you think that would become the new backdrop?
Next week.
Really, that fast?
As long as there's not a lot of pushback on like little design tweaks, we could shoot it. We could shoot tomorrow. I mean, it's ready. Well,
you heard it. So maybe this might be the last podcast then. We don't know. But either way, that is being completed. It's it's been a little bit of an undertaking, and I think we'll have an episode on that in itself. But nonetheless, I think everything happens for a reason. We are now at that great position in life where we're investing in different elements of the gym, and that is truly Ali's job. So you want to talk about what we've just done at the gym as an update?
Sure. We expanded the gym floor about 1,200 square feet, added about 20 new pieces of gym equipment, as well as expanding our retail store. So the store is about 95% done. We're waiting on some other things to come through. But those were the two main areas that we kind of did some construction on, as well as the new podcast room.
Why did you feel the need to create the store and open up the walls for the fans that are listening, business-wise?
Well, I think the physical layout of it being more open concept is just better from a flow standpoint. It also allows us to display a lot more items, merchandise in just physically display it. because we have so many things that we want to offer but didn't have the space. So opening it up allowed us to offer more variety and allow people to kind of go in and out easier than kind of going physically into a store.
And then the leg room, which was the old Arsenal strength room. What have we done in there, and how many pieces have we added to the gym total?
I said that 20 pieces, about 20 pieces total. We're still waiting on about 1 or 2. But yeah, that new leg room is quite special. I think we just still have to finish up some artwork on the walls. But other than that, the equipment's in. It's all kicking and running, and it looks great.
So what we done was we asked a lot of the VIPs here at the gym, what pieces are we missing? Because, for everybody knows, I'm a partner in Arsenal Strength. Arsenal Strength it's a showroom for Arsenal Strength, let's be honest, right? We have every single piece, and every time we make a new piece, we're the first person to get it. In this case, we wanted to fill in the gaps on the pieces that Arsenal doesn't want that doesn't make. And as I'm a gym rat, you know me, I love putting pieces in here that I've trained on in the past around the world. So synergistically, we've looked at the layout, seen what we're missing, asked the members, asked the VIPs, what pieces would you love to have here that you may be going to another gym just to use? And we're all about investing back. We didn't come into this to be gym owners. We came into this as, of course, from the business element, don't get me wrong, but we truly are athletes. And just to let you guys know, because she won't say it herself, Ali was the overall Miss USA. She's won 3 pro shows, two pro shows, New York Pro, along with the Jacksonville Pro, and was the overall Miss USA. So she has the athlete's mindset and knows exactly what the females need here as well as the guys. So when we chose to invest in this gym and expand this gym, we had a list of pieces, and the biggest thing for us was making it fit.
Yeah.
So we have no problem in putting pieces into the gym. It's just making it fit. So we had the Arsenal Strength showroom here, which you all are aware of, or for the ones who are not, you could see in Old Post. We had a Arsenal Strength showroom, which was closed off the public, and then they had a conference room. So we came in here, we blocked up the conference room wall, we knocked a hole in the wall here and put a door here. All the code, don't worry guys, before you guys start asking me if I've done it myself. And we were able to take over the Arsenal Strength showroom gym, turn it into what is now the leg room. There's still artwork to be put on there, but people are absolutely loving it. They're so grateful, they're so thankful, and to be honest, that's all we need. We don't need anything else other than, thank you very much. You have made my prep for my next show so much better. And there's so much more things to come, but that's not for another episode, for another time. This was supposed to have been a 45 minutes catch up, and we've kind of gone down the rabbit hole of, I think it's like a little bit over an hour. But if you guys and girls are still watching and listening on Spotify, on YouTube, thank you guys. Thank you. You know how long-winded I am in some cases, but it's amazing for me now to be sitting here with more confidence, enjoying this process. There's a lot more incredible guests coming down the pipeline. We have 3 big names coming in this month alone, and August is already shaping up to be a big one. So if there's anything else, Ali, you want to sign off on?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for your guests. I'm excited for the gym, and there's a lot of progress that's being made, and it's all exciting to sit back and help it get made. But not be in front of it.
Exactly. So we're at that point now where it's all about the evolution. We're looking at what we got, and we're seeing on how we can make it better. So with the podcast, with the gym, with so many different elements here, we couldn't do it without you guys watching this. So for me, Ali, Tyus, Roderick, thank you so much, guys. There's a lot more things coming down the pipeline. Don't forget to subscribe for the channel. Comment below who you'd like to see in an upcoming episode. Help us with the algorithm. Let's get these episodes out. And also don't forget to subscribe to our new vlog channel, which now will only have our videos and vlogs and training and everything else. So now this will not live on this home. It's going to be on the other. So I think this is like 10th time I said this. Thank you guys. Me, Ali, me. Straight out the lair. Out.